Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Daily Grind here on Latte Firm Wednesday, the 10th of September. The rain is lashing down here in London, but let's bring in someone who can bring us some warmth and some sunshine and some joy. It's Clive, OMG, from the Arsenal Vision podcast.
Stop
Welcome to the
it,
firm.
stop it.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well. I'm really well. Even though it's international break, Clive, it's a chance for us to reflect and just sort of think about what we've learned, what we've not learned, what we've liked, what we've not liked this season. So I'm really pleased to have you on tonight's show. We'll talk about the international break and what it's meant for a couple of players of our own. Martin Odegaard, Mikel Merino, obviously doing bits for Spain. Noni Madueke last night for England. But I want to get your thoughts on the first three games, and then we'll sort of leave the show with your thoughts on the title race. But before all of that, how are you? Are you enjoying being back in action? Enjoying all the Arsenal content?
Yeah, I'm all right, actually. So what I tend to do in the international break, I wasn't going on holiday, but I was going to go to Lisbon. There was a bit of there's an accident out there, wasn't there? So I had to cancel that. But what I do, funny enough, is I go everywhere else but football. I tell you what, I've been watching. Oh, the NFL's come back in. I've been watching that. I've been watching 1980s rugby league, right? So watching women's
Why?
rugby, I don't, because I think sport is such a broad topic. And what we tend to do is we spend every moment of our lives connecting to Arsenal, when really you should be finding time to connect to everything else but Arsenal, because Arsenal comes to you naturally anyway. We have all our lives set up in our phones and iPads. That Arsenal comes to us, so don't seek it. Because what happens, your view becomes narrow, your perspective becomes narrow. There are other sports, other ways to look at things, other ways to connect to leadership, to connect to how teammates interact in other dressing rooms, etc. And maybe it helps you understand your own team, the thing you care about the most. Because by Saturday morning, mate, we're all Arsenal again, massively, right? From the press conference on Friday, 1:30, we're back in the room again. And every single syllable is really important. So save your energy so you can absorb that, So that's what I do. That's how I do it anyway. I don't think it works for everybody, but I go everywhere else but Arsenal, non-league, women's football, women's rugby. That's where I've been. It's been great.
And you know, I love how much you love other sports and how much you can take from other sports in terms of just philosophy, approach, mentality, gameplay, everything that you see, the dynamics, the chemistry of any sports team, any functional sports club or performance.
Yeah.
I love the way you articulate it as well, of course, on the Arsenal Vision podcast.
Yeah. Have you seen an interview out there? I want your listeners, viewers, to try to find it. Is Sean McVeigh just talking to, I think it's Rog from the Men in Blazers?
Men in Blazers, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got like 25 minutes. And he's talking about leadership, connection, talk about Mikel Arteta. And that stuff is the stuff. Because when we are watching Sky, which we are forced to do, and we hear certain pundits from the northwest of England who do not have Arsenal's best interests at heart characterize our manager, we take that view and we parrot it about our own team. And I don't like that, if I'm honest with you. We're intelligent enough to see what our own manager's doing and try to understand it before we take people's views who do not care about us. So the way to do that is to stretch out and reach out. And I know there was an AST meeting this week with Steve Kerr and Arteta, I believe.
Lucky enough to go.
I didn't know till late, but that's the stuff you need to go to if you can get a chance to really understand the man from the inside, and so I'll be, I thought that sounded excellent. I can't wait to hear that podcast.
It was sensational, I got to say. I was lucky enough to go, and we gave a couple of tickets away to Patreon members here on Latte Firm. And Clive, the general consensus amongst Laura, Johnny, and Haroon, the four that I was with, was that we'd just go to war for the guy. The way Mikel Arteta talks about his philosophy, his approach, his life, his mindset, how important it is to kind of almost reset and take perspective from other people's experiences.
Yeah.
The way he talks about how it's so important to communicate with clarity and to bring the energy and the intensity. These are famous, Mikel Arteta bingo, right? You'd be ticking them all off. Yeah. Like, he's just inspiring. Like, you listen to the guy, don't just hear him. Like, really listen to him and take in everything that he says. Mate, we were charged. Like, we walked out of that room thinking, right, let's go. Let's go right now. Do you know what I mean?
I totally understand what you mean. And I'm not saying that, I admire people that really study and want to be leaders as well as managers and coaches. And so when me and Elliot, and we talk about substitutions being 5-10 minutes too late, yeah, we can have that discussion because we want to have it, right? But let's not over-index it. There's so much more to running a football club than maybe missing a substitution break at halftime, or based on what I think, based on hindsight, based on the fact I know the result. Do you know what I mean? But I may not know the condition of my right back. You know, I may not know the condition of my left back, who hadn't done 90 minutes yet this season. And so when we're being fed this stuff, I always want to urge people to breathe. We know our club better than anybody else. We have the opportunity to create an environment for success for our club. No one else holds that power. We do. So if we jump on each other on the first defeat, we got 57 more games to go this season, mate. It's going to be long. You know why I watch rugby league now? I need to save my energy. You know what I mean? It's very important to save my energy for the perspective that I need.
I love it. And let's get your perspective. People are being very, very kind to both of us, but I think you're taking all the glory today, Clive. Please do keep the chat active, ladies and gents, boys and girls, and a warm welcome to our channel members and Patreon members. Right, let's pick up the slides. Talk about perspective. Talk about your opinions. A mixed start to the season. Played 3, 1-2, no draws, but a defeat, of course, at Anfield. And I want to sort of get your thoughts, Clive, on, I guess, key headlines from each performance, if you like. You know, the first opening day result was away at Old Trafford. Manchester United, a very sort of ugly performance, but got the 3 points and kept a clean sheet. Then, of course, the swashbuckling performance against Leeds at home, Victor Gyökeres getting off the mark. And then, of course, a real test, Anfield, Liverpool and Arsenal, a game of chess, I thought. But what have you sort of taken from the start and each of the games? Have there been things that you've liked, things that maybe you've not liked?
Yeah, so I was a bit concerned. If I could take you back even further, I went to the Villarreal game. A bit concerning, a bit flat. We didn't look very fit. I thought, it's a bit of a worry. Bilbao was much better. For the first hour, we looked great. I thought, oh, here we go. We got new patterns. We got a double pivot. We're switching the point of the attack. All that nice buzzwords. I'm thinking, here we go. Let me book the Hilton Hotel in Upper Street because we're going for the lot, right? So then we have Manchester United appear. And Manchester United, I don't care what happens, they must give out Wellington boots in the tunnel because we never seem to be able to move around that pitch as we should do, despite being better than them. We get the win. And I'm ecstatic because I've grown up realizing that any win at Old Trafford is a big day. And I didn't really focus on the things we didn't do well because I don't believe any of the teams are ready yet. Don't think they're fit enough yet. I don't think their squads are complete at that period of time. Since we played our first game of the season, Liverpool have added £130 million centre forward. So all bets are off. The season's not started. So what can you do? So we take the win, get on the bus, go home. Really happy. The Leeds game, you know, there were a few moments in the start of that game, FK, when I thought, oh, I want a 5-0, but I can't see it coming. Then we get the 5-0, right? And we get everything. We get a 15-year-old coming on the pitch. We got an 18-year-old running midfield. We get a new signing before the game. And then you just get all this stuff. And, mate, I was overwhelmed with it. Overwhelmed with the whole day. You know, it was just wonderful, right? So then we go to Anfield, and I felt, and I said it before, so for those listening to me elsewhere, I apologise, but I felt the game was lost. If it was going to be lost, it was lost before kickoff. You know, we control so much in our game plan, what we're trying to achieve. Then you rock up, the game starts, and minute 3, Saliba's sitting down on the pitch. And you're thinking, what's happened here? So obviously in the warm-up, something happened. We took the decision to give him a go. But that, I think, took away a substitution window to adjust, and it maybe made me think we should adjust it at half time, when really I'd done a rewatch today earlier and there wasn't a lot wrong in that first half. And I literally said to him, who would you take off now? He said, no one. That's exactly. When the game ends 1-0, we lose to a 31.5 yard free kick. We then go back and over-index the points, myself included, by the way, over-index the points for failure, where we could have done a little bit more. But actually, we did fine and we got done. I thought Slot assessed it brilliantly. And we just got to take our licks and hopefully get those points back at Newcastle. That's where I am.
When you talked about the changes that we could have made at Anfield, I mean, there was a lot of talk about, you know, why is Mikel Merino starting? We'll talk about Merino in just a second, but it seemed like a flat middle 3. especially when you've got Odegaard on the bench, who it turns out wasn't maybe fully fit. Ezra, of course, who joined us, but did have a full preseason with Palace and was playing for Palace early on. Is that the change? Could Mikel have made that change maybe at half time and been a bit more aggressive? Could it have gotten any worse with Martinelli on the left side, who wasn't having a good day?
So my assessment of that game at the time was we picked a team that was going to be basically for an off-the-ball game. The previous game at Anfield, we were blown off the pitch, 2-0 down, and I think he carried them scars into the game. So he picked a team for maybe not having the ball. What happened was, I think we edged possession in the first half. We had 13, 14 penalty box touches compared to Liverpool 0, I think, in the first half. And so we end up with a team that was off the ball, but actually we had the ball more than we expected. So then you think, what can we do from here on in? Now, this is my only criticism. This is the only criticism I have. I don't worry about the starting 11. I'm a fan of Mikel Merino, and some of our best points of last season came when he was at centre forward, right? So I'm a fan of him. But my issue was really, we've just signed a player for 65 million, whatever it is, and it was halftime, and it was game 3 in the season. Was because of the Saliba issue, halftime became a free substitution window. So it comes into play, right? So not normally, I don't normally ask for halftime substitutions because we know we're going to get it after 60 to 70, we're going to get something, right? So, but because we used that window in the first half, I thought, okay, someone needs to be in his ear saying, rather than bring on Eze at 70 with Odegaard, do we do it now? Do we do it at halftime? If we get picked off, by the way, they were on the pitch when we did get picked off. If we get picked off, I'm okay with it in game 3. I really am. What we could do, we could chin them, we could take them, and we could prick their aura. And this aura is the thing I'm worried about. Liverpool have played 3 games, and they've been crap in all 3, and they've got 9 points. So what does that do? That develops an aura. And since they've had those 9 points, they've broken the British transfer record. Right? So that means it's not us. It's other teams who are going to now think, we're going to struggle here today. We just got out of that with Man City. They'd rock up somewhere, not play well, and take the win because teams are beaten in the tunnel. Now, who else is going to prick their aura if it's not us? So we have to take that responsibility. Now, it's a soft factor thing, FK, but I the more the time's gone on, I feel, okay, at halftime, someone needs to say to someone, should we do something here? But if we don't, that's fine too. I don't want to sound demonstrative about this. But I do think that's the thing we have to say. If we're going to war with Liverpool, we have to go to war with them. And we really do. I reckon we'll be back there in the Champions League. Honestly, I think that's going to happen. It's bound to happen in the knockouts. So learning about Anfield, developing a strategy to beat them there, I think it's important. I really do. And so that's the only critique I would have. Rather than wait for momentum to change and react, could have been proactive at halftime. That's the only thing. But as I said to you, I don't know the condition of our fullbacks. I don't know the condition of other players. I don't know how many minutes that Odegaard could do. I don't know the condition of Eze. Do you see what I mean? So I'm just talking as a bloke.
Well, it's a really salient point because, here we are speculating about what we could have done, should have done, would have done, when actually Mikel and all the data scientists and the coaches have everything to hand to make the most educated decision that they could have made. And we mustn't forget, Anfield is obviously the place to go, home of the champions, and they respected us, Clive. It was
Massively.
really impressive. You watched that first half again, and I'm sure you've watched it a few times
Today.
Yeah, but they I've not seen them not press the way they didn't press at Anfield for a long time, and they almost sort of said it was like chess, like you go, I go, you go, I go, like you do what you got to do, and fine tweaks, and it was an extraordinary goal late in that second half that won it, a goal that would be worthy of winning any game. Let's be fair. And of course, Clive, you talk about availability and conditions of fullbacks and whatnot, but Ben White, Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, William Saliba. In seasons gone by, 5 starters for Arsenal and ever-present starters. So that is big. So there is a lot of context. I'm not reading off excuses, but them's the facts. It was a good game, a game that should have ended 0-0. And I think the free kick, because it was so late and it gives them the win. And like you say, they have been largely so jammy in the first 3 games. And of course, they've added Isak, and it's making me vomit a little bit watching all of the action today of him in training. I really appreciate that. Thanks for the overview. Lots to be encouraged about. Let's talk about some individual players. We've seen some international stuff happen this week. These graphics courtesy of the brilliant _Arsenal. I want to get your thoughts on the skipper. First. He's coming for a lot of stick. Tony Adams over the summer, as you may sort of remember covering on the AVP. He shouldn't be captain, should be Declan Rice, yada, yada, yada. He's had a difficult, I would say, 12 to 18 months. Obviously, last year, injuries, became a dad. Now, we don't want to speculate. Don't want to sort of just say, it's because he's a dad, he's messed it all up. But he's not been at his brilliant best. And it's so important, I think, Clive, that the skipper has to be at his brilliant best, be that maestro to really get us ticking. What are your thoughts on the whole sort of Martin Odegaard, captain, not captain? How important is he to Arsenal this season?
Yeah, I rarely see games, particularly big games away from home, when you need to feel the momentum of the game. I rarely see us play well without him being on the pitch, because I think he's the coach basically on the pitch. He knows when to drop in, he knows when to go high, he knows when to play through. He can recognize when the fullback is under pressure, so I'm going to give it to that winger. He sees the weak points, he sees the dope on the other side, and I just think he's very intelligent. The Martin Odegaard question I have is, we need to answer it, because he's almost too important intelligence-wise, and he had a rough year last year. He didn't look himself. He looked very light in weight. Looks a bit stronger now. Looks a bit quicker, a bit more powerful, and he looks focused. Now, all the captain stuff, mate. We're not going to do that here, are we? I mean, we're not going to do that here. I mean, we can't let that sort of stuff. Again, it comes back to people in the Arsenal family talking about people like that, giving people ammunition to attack us from the outside. That's not how I roll, mate. We can all critique somebody, but it's got to be constructive. It's got to be constructive. I'll have a go at Martinelli. I'll always say, what could he do better? How can we use him better? How can we balance it out better? We're not idiots. We can see when someone's not playing well. We're not here to just happy clap, right? But also, there's a level of, you don't give people ammunition, and when someone's got a bronze statue outside the ground, I think you have a responsibility with your words and how you say them, and increased responsibility. So Odegaard, we're very, I can say I've actually met him, so I've met him. Trust me, there is no better captain for the club than him, right? And now, is he deserving of his place? I think he is. But Anfield, was he fit? We don't know, do we? He went to Norway and played. He played. I think he played a half in the first game and played the 90 in the second game. What's this a game plan which we have to respect? I think he's so important. I almost want to get to a point where he's not as important. Now, in the Leeds game, he was doing fine. He took a knock. Ethan came on. I thought he did really, really well. Really, really well. So we need to get to a point where when I turn up and the team's named, and if Saka and Odegaard are not on it, I don't burst into tears. And I think we're at that point now that we can do things and still hit a level. For the first time, I think we're not so over-reliant. I think for Martin now, the next stage for him, in my opinion, is you don't have to do everything, mate. You don't have to clean dressing rooms as well afterwards. There are people out there that can help you. You can stay a bit higher, stay a bit more central, try to be a bit more decisive. There's a period in our history, recent history, where he runs the most Ks, has the most touches, has the most final entry passes, does everything. He hasn't got to do that now. We have others. So I think when he settles, which I think he's already starting to, I think he's going to have a really strong season this year. I predict it here and now. I think he's come to play, so let's see.
Let's see, indeed. Lots of people talking about his fresh trim. He does look good. Logical nonsense saying, I feel if he just shaved his goatee, maybe he'll evolve to his final form. We shall see. It's a massive season for Arsenal. It's a big season for the skipper. And I love the way that you say that he just needs help, that support. Having the outlets, having better players around him, having that depth in the squad so we don't have to just play him into the ground. Big season for the skip. I want to move on to the metronome in midfield, and that is, of course, Martin Zubimendi. A quote there, courtesy of Squawker. Rodri claiming that Martin Zubimendi is one of the best midfielders in the world and he will hand him the keys to the national team. What have you made of our Spanish edition this summer?
That's just Rodri looking for international breaks off, right? So he's saying the other guy's quite good. Why don't you play him and I'll just rest up for Man City's European Cup challenge, shall I? You know, so yeah, Zubimendi's well, he came into most of our. I'll try to generalize here. He came into my life anyway in the Euros final at halftime when he came on, and we were all thinking as England fans, those England fans that are on this listening, we're thinking this is it, mate. We're going to win. You know, something's gone our way, and I think Zubimendi came on and was better than Rodri in that game, and showed everything that he is. And from that moment on, I was convinced. You know, so. Again, you've seen him at FK. He's tidy, isn't he? He's very tidy. But what I do like about him, I do like the fact he bounces through the lines. He bounces through, so he knows when to accelerate. He plays the game really smartly. If you're showing some young academy kids how to play centre midfield, you just show him a video of him. You know, and it's like the left foot, right foot, scans both shoulders, can clip it, can go short, can carry, and he makes tackles. Great. Receives the first pass out under pressure, always knows where he needs to be. Nothing to see here. Just needs to get a bit more fitness and intensity. The last 20 minutes at Anfield, maybe he looked a little bit leggy. You know, that's going to come, isn't it? It's going to come in no time at all. And when then what we're going to have a moan about? You know, probably nothing. It's really strange that we missed Christian Norgard that day. I know it sounds crazy, but the ability to bring on someone like him to button up the middle late in the game was exactly why we bought him, and he was injured. Right, so it sounds silly, but Merino and Zubimendi ran out of petrol at the same time, and we took off Merino, I think, in the game, and had to leave Zubimendi on, and he got caught a little bit on the entry pass and the free kick, and we know what happened, right? So we have the talent; they're just not fit. It's not fit at the moment.
Mo says, I think we've seen Zubimendi at 7 out of 10 if this geezer hits top form, though. I mean, like you, really impressed with what he does on the ball. I like the way that I think we seem to be moving the ball quicker, and hopefully we get the benefit of him breaking those lines much quicker and, you know, getting the best out of Victor Gyökeres and Martinelli, etc. I was surprised by how easily he's adapted to the physicality, like the fitness-wise. I think you're right. He's got to get 90 minutes, and he's got to be at that sort of intensity all throughout. But like, I thought he'd be bounced about a bit. I thought he'd be, you know, I thought he'd find it. I thought he'd be a little bit lightweight for the Premier League, but he showed his class. Like, the game is in his head before he's even done anything on the ball, and that obviously goes a long way. So really, really impressed. I'm hoping that he has a fantastic season and steers injury free. I do want to talk about Noni Madueke. Last night, a glimpse of, I mean, to be fair, a lot of Arsenal fans have been sat on the positive side of this move thinking, yep, he's a brilliant addition to the team. There are some who still maybe have their doubts about him, but what do you make of him? What did you make of his game last night?
Yeah, so when the story first broke, I went, oh no, because I didn't really. He's not a player that I liked. Like, actually, I did like him. People found tweets of me saying I liked him when he was at PSV, right? So, but when someone's playing for Chelsea and also competing with our star player for England, I'm not looking for his best parts of his character, right? In my heart, I'm thinking, well, he's the enemy, right? So I had that initial reaction on the very first night and it broke. But then I thought to myself, oh, actually, mate, what are you talking about, you idiot? You like these sort of players, you know? So players that are quick, quite tall, wing forwards, I like these sort of players, right? So he fits the profile, right? So then you start to look around and you read and you think, actually, he has something which I think is an underrated part of recruitment. He has character. We have 3 offensive players that we've added into our squad that are all massive characters. They bring something. Gyökeres brings his football journey, his absolute individualism about how he plays the game as a centre forward. He brings it. Noni Madueke, very simple, complete clarity. He just goes at his man and he goes fast and hard and he's strong, so he can put his shoulder on him as well. He spins in behind and runs. He's showing Martinelli. How comes he's getting the ball on the run and Martinelli's not? I tell you what it is, it's timing, it's eye contact, it's being aggressive, and players trust you're going to get there. That's the difference, right? So he's got character. Eze, got character. Give me the ball. I'm going to turn around and make something happen. Character is a very important part of football. You know, Fabio Vieira, really talented. Has he the character to play for Arsenal? I'm afraid not. You know, what do you do at 1-0 down? Where do you go? Where do you go when you get dropped? How do you react in the dressing room? This kid's got it, mate. And to have the character to come to Arsenal when there were petitions about him, embarrassing petitions, by the way. And he's gone out there and he just worked at it. He's kept working. Now he's playing for England. He's in that team by right. You know, and he's going to cause a problem at Arsenal. He's going to make people make decisions. And this is where we want to be, right? So it's very exciting. And other people looking around and going, I need to up my game. And FK, me and you will be benefit from this, sitting in the ground going, yeah, you up your game.
Mate, I can't. I'll be honest with you. I found it, sort of galling, jarring, whatever the word is, that we went to Chelsea and bought another player. But when I thought about it, and I thought about what Arteta's obsession with Rafinha a couple of years ago, and how he moves as a left-footed, right-sided player onto that left-hand side, and I thought maybe this is it for Noni. Maybe Noni Madueke could be our left wide player, and when Saka's not available like he is now, he steps in for him, and he's very capable of that. But could that be the sort of left wide forward evolution that we're seeing from Noni? And he's obviously a very talented player. I love, and 433's just mentioned this. Love the carpool content from Colney with Frimpong. I don't know if you've seen that, but he talked about Bukayo Saka, his dad, and Noni Madueke's dad have been close friends for since childhood.
Yeah.
So I just find everything about this move really wholesome, and I like the boy. I like what I see, his application, and I can't wait to see how Arteta kind of coaches him. So hopefully he's going to have to be a very important player. Dave says Noni has served me up the most delicious humble pie. Talking of humble pie, can we just briefly talk about Mikel Merino? I know you've covered it on the Arsenal Vision podcast. Before we sort of end the show and talk about the title race, 4 goals in 2 for Spain. 18 goal contributions since February, so in a spell of 6 months, and you've got to include the summer holidays. I think you said at the start of the show, Clive, played a really important role towards the back end of last season. I did a show with Zach Lowy, of course, many people will know off the socials a couple of days ago, where we just talked about, what is Mikel Merino's best position? How does Mikel Arteta best use him? Is he just the sort of Swiss Army knife who's just got everything there is in the game? I don't know. What's your take on him? How should Arteta use him in this team?
Yeah, so we're brought up to focus on positions, right? So that's what we do. We all had a position at school. I was a centre mid, more of a kick it, head it in front of the back 4 centre mid, not a ball player. So we grow up in positions, fullbacks, we go in positions. But now I look at football more so in lines, right? So we defend in 3 lines, we attack in 4, right? So first pass, Zubimendi, first pass guy out of the back line. He takes the first pass. Rice at times take the first pass. They're your first pass. That's your base part of your team. I heard me say the word base pod, 5+5. Mikel Merino is the second pass guy. He's happy taking that second pass because I think he shields it, holds it, turns around and spins it onto the last line. So when we get told Arsenal played a DM in midfield at Anfield, it's disrespectful, right? Just look at a game. So this is why I get annoyed. Don't parrot it. We watched the game. Right, so and his position is always in that second pass out, that line. Sometimes he was on the last line, but then when he was a centre forward, he dropped into that second pass line, and our width was our forward players in Martinelli and Saka, for example. So that's what he is. But around the edge of the area, mate, the time slot stops for him, and his technique on finishes are excellent. He opens out the width of his foot all the time. So rather than thrash through the ball and kick into the crowd, he'd take a bit off of it to hit target and make the keeper save. He's got shapes to finish, right foot, left foot, does it first time, bounces the ball in. His headers are so beautifully timed. This guy is a technician on finishing and last actions, and it's really high quality. It's not an accident. You do not score 4 goals. I know the first game, was it Bulgaria? I think they played Spain. Wasn't a great opposition. But the Turkey game was being billed as like similar to Serbia for England as a proper game. Brushed them aside with finishing of the highest quality, And so we have something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's not a DM. That's for sure. So when he plays in that role, and when we have, say, Saka on the outside and maybe Madueke on the other side, we're going to see his qualities, right? I just don't think we're quite ready fitness-wise yet. But this is a really smart player to have, and it's quite interesting listening to the other teammates talk about him. And they talk about his ability to take on information and his intelligence. And that's an interesting thing for your teammates to say about you. So he must be somebody that really gets it, gets what the manager wants. There's a level of complexity in football that maybe surprises me, even though I've been around a bit, and I'm not sure if you were there, but I went to the open training session at the Emirates recently.
Oh, I wasn't there. I was working, sadly. Go on.
Yeah. And I watched it, and I watched all the drills, watched all the different groups, all different stations. And what dawned on me was football training nowadays is not just about up and down, get fit. It's about game-related situations, complexity, staying mentally alert. Say have 3 or 4 drills at the same time, then they flip to a small-sided game immediately, and then you end up with a finish or an action. Everything ends up with a shot on goal or a last pass or support play. So it's all game-related. Even the coaches in the middle, and they're bouncing you and knocking you, so you feel as though you're in the duel, so you can't settle on your feet to receive it. So everything's game-related. And I'm watching this going, bloody hell, I can barely keep up with it. And I'm sitting here, right? So, and then in the middle of it, do you know who really stood out to me? It was Mikel Merino stood out to me. His finishing and his ability to switch from action to action was right at the top. And everyone was saying, "Oh, Clive, what was Max Diamond like? What was your career like?" They were good, right? But I found my eye going to Marino. He was so good at his finishes. Everything he did was perfect. His touches were the right way. We have to sometimes it's not.
How do you use him then, Clive? You're the gaffer.
Well,
is he a super sub? Is he just a big game player? He is no doubt a tremendous finisher. He's obviously a very good footballer. You can't play for Spain and for Arsenal and for all the other teams that he's played for and not have something about you. And he's one of the oldest in the squad, which is great.
Yeah.
So he's got that experience, that wisdom. But like, what? I just don't know what Mikel Arteta does with him.
I think sometimes football we all have our biases, right? So I like a wing forward type forward, 6 foot, like Marcus Rashford. I like that style. Etitike, he suits my eye. Isak suits my eye. Gyökeres comes along, bodybuilder, boom, 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 boshing around like this. Doesn't suit my eye. And when he scores, I love him. Do you know what I mean? So I have a bias around it. Mikel Merino, we could have bought somebody else. We could have bought another number 10. Say just to throw a name out, for example. We could have got someone like Michael Elise, play him in there, blah, blah, blah. Then we see Mikel Merino come, and he's all big boots and big shoulders, and he doesn't suit our eyes for what we've grown up with. Then you turn around, and the ball's in the back of the net. It's in the back of the net, out of nowhere. And last time I looked, that skill is pretty important in football. His ability to be available for his teammates on that second pass, also to his reaction when the possession turns over, to read duels, get his body in front of the ball. I honestly think the position he played at Anfield is his best position. Right? So on that right-hand side, whether it's an 8 or an 8-10, that's his best position. But I don't mind him at centre forward at all. I don't mind at centre forward because he won't play there. So it's all about the balance, all about the connections you have. If your wingers are sprinters, then he can play centre forward easy. Right? So he's just a smart player. You want him in your team, right? He makes the coach look good. Simple as that.
Fascinating. There are hundreds of you watching live on YouTube right now. If you're enjoying the content, please do, of course, subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on the video. It's a massive help to the channel in terms of profile on YouTube. And thank you for all of the chat as well. I can't not end the show without getting your thoughts on the title race, Clive, the battle for honours this season. 2 questions, straightforward. First up, is this the year, Clive, that is going to end our hunt for a Premier League title that has gone for 20 years plus? And how do you think we'll fare across, I guess, each of the competitions? What's a successful season for you come May?
Yeah, I tend to be a bit of a football bore, and I just take it one game at a time. But I will say to you, watching that Leeds game, and seeing Eze come out, it dawned on me that we actually could be quite good. The squad was developing. Obviously, Saka then pulls up, and then Odegaard goes off. You think, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? Here we go again. And that's what we built the squad for, isn't it? Kai Havertz then disappears. We don't know for how long. Ben White should be coming back this weekend. He's amazing. Saliba, he's amazing players. But they're all re-signing. And that's a message about what we're doing. That's really a strong message. Despite the fact we get annoyed at a manager not make a substitution 10 minutes sooner, right? If you spoke to me for the last 3 years, I said the same thing. I think this is the year. However, you get things when you deserve it. And it's quite interesting how people are viewing us, saying there are no excuses now, which is a compliment. What they're really saying is you didn't have the squad for the last couple of years, but you've now got it. You've now got your forwards, you've got your midfield, we got 8 defenders, mate. They're all fantastic. Got 2 goalkeepers. They play the same way. So one doesn't just woof it, they both can play on the ball, so we get that +1 at the back. We have everything here. We need form, we need development, and health. That's what we need. Form, development, I mean development, I mean player development. We need people to develop on and not stall. That's really important. If we get that and a bit of fortune with health, I think we're going to do it. I really do. I really think we're going to do it. But the key for me is the environment that we have around us. It feels a bit frenzied for 3 games in, but I don't think that's just Arsenal. I felt that last year more with the referee discussions, etc. Referees have been fair to us this year, so it's down to us really to get our game going and start to produce. So Forest is the first one. We're not maybe a super health by Saturday morning. Thanks for that. TV Saturday morning kickoff was just what you need, and but then we rock into like Newcastle and City, right? So at the end of that, we know a lot more.
We will. I'll ask you a slightly different question. What's the bare minimum this season, Clive, for you? Yeah, and I say bare minimum, and this is not just about being binary about Mikel Arteta, but what does the club need to do to reflect the journey that Arteta has been on, the transfer activity that we've had? Is would you be happy with just a sort of title chase and take it to the last weekend, see what happens, or has he got to deliver a trophy for you of some kind to really kind of keep the noise down?
Yeah, I think I don't know what to say on this one, right? Because with my business head on, the most important thing is that we're competing at the top end of the game. So if you look at all the betting for the Champions League, look at all the betting for the league, we're in the top 3 on both. That tells you who we are. So we need to finish in the top 3 at both as a bare minimum. However, there's something changed with me last year. And I love the journey of football. I love it. I love it. I love talking about it. I believe in life, you get something when you deserve it, right? So I think we're getting close to deserving it right now this season. However, I went to the Women's Champions League final at the Emirates to watch along there. 5,000 of us in that ground. And FK, it was a reminder to me of what it's like to win. I'd forgotten what it's like to win something really, really big. We've had really big nights. The Real Madrid game will never leave me, right? But to win something big, it was so, so heartwarming. And it's a reminder when I was doing my own, we do what we do, to not underplay what winning really feels like and what it will do for so many people. And Arsenal, when we last won, is not the Arsenal of today. I guarantee your audience is global. The club is global. Everything we do is globalized now. Our fan base has gone up by about 50 times. We're absolutely massive, and I will so want it for everybody to feel that winning feeling. I think it'll just be incredible, and it'll be new for all of us in this online digital world, right? It'll be new for all of us, and that's what I really hope for. I'm hoping this is the year.
Oh, when you talk, I'm just like, I'll forget the chat as well. So my apologies, ladies and gents. So many chats have come through today. Apologies for not getting them all on screen. Listen, Clive, that's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you making the time to join us. Obviously, everyone can find you on the Arsenal Vision podcast, Talk Sport, Sky Sports. I mean, what's the season looking like for you? Is it Arsenal Vision? That's the main.
I just turn up, right? And just turn up and see what happens.
I love that.
Yeah, I just want people to have the big day. That's what I want. I want the big days, But then you know what? Seriously, if we do win, you know what happened? We want the next journey, right? We'll be on something else really quickly. It's the nature of the beast. But the big day, mate. I want it.
Me and you both. We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back with a Nottingham Forest preview show, the Late Night Lounge on Friday. Then, of course, Saturday is match day with a match reaction video straight after that. Look after yourselves. Stay dry. It's lashing down in London. Enjoy yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.